Whoa, let's learn stuff. Let's learn about product strategy from chapter 8. So, because a product has so many aspects to it, many marketers prefer to call it an offering. So, like, this is our offering, this is what we offer, versus just calling it a product. So, that was also mentioned in chapter 8. So, given all of that, I wanted to take this time to use Athens State University as an example of how it meets or has these different features. So we'll start with uh, Athens State as a tangible good. So, in what way do you think Athens State isn't a tangible good, or what is it about it that would be tangible? Yeah, so the campus itself, the buildings, the physical location, physical things that would be there once you're on campus, right? And then there's also your um, the books that you use. So let's see, learning materials, equipment. If maybe you take advantage of the computer lab here, for example. So just all those different things. That's the physical aspect of it. So being an Athens State student, buying their product, that's one of the things you get, access to the building. Support staff, professors, people. So yeah. So, and in thinking about that would be the same thing for many things, right? Like say Disney, that's their whole thing, right? The people, the service that they provide. And then that kind of goes along with what I said a few minutes ago about going to restaurants, because really the people working there make the difference whether I want to go back or not. So, yes, that's good. All right, so that's the tangible part. I think you all got this. And then there's the service. So I'm just kind of following the definition there. So what do you think about the service part? Library services. So yeah, all these different offices, right, that offer that. Let's see. There's also, well, like me right now, I'm offering a service. I'm facilitating this discussion. So we'll call this instruction. See my notes here. Library, somebody said library. There's academic advising, right? I don't know if that was mentioned, but all those common big ones there. We have our accessibility office, etc. Right? So you get the idea. So that also goes with the Athens State offering. So while we're thinking about it, this kind of brings up the idea that as you're creating marketing campaigns for Athens State, say if you work for the marketing agent or marketing office here, or if you were a marketing agency helping out Athens State University, these would be the things that you want to be able to get your target audience to think about, that hey, these are all the things you're going to have access to. So just think about yourself as a student. Why is it that you chose Athens State University? It's not always just going to be the tangible stuff, right? Because for many of you, you're far away. Like, you're not going to be here every day. So you're not going to be doing that traditional, like, what many people think of college, like 18 to 22 years old, going here, a residential campus, all that stuff. But definitely the service would be something that might be of interest to you, knowing that you'll be supported no matter where you are. So I know a lot of universities, for example, have evening business hours or office hours to where they would cater to students who, excuse me, who would be working all day, but then they would be available for services at night if they had questions, technical support needs, or a library or anything like that. Like us right now, right? Like we're meeting at, it's almost 7 p.m. That reminds me also of how during the pandemic, when it first started, right? Everybody went online. That universities came up with solutions. I know where I wasn't at Athens State at the time. It was the University of Central Missouri. We provided Chromebooks or laptops to people
Hmm.
who may not have had that. They were also given hotspots because a lot of them lived in rural areas that didn't have
Right.
high-speed internet. So yeah, so all of that, right? Just helping everybody get to that point, because the value proposition of Athens State is, finish that degree, right? And so of course, they're going to come up with ideas on how to help you get to that point. All right, so I think we got the service idea part down. What about idea? So now we're getting kind of, what's the word for it? Abstract, but idea. What kind of ideas does Athens State sell? Yeah, that's definitely it, right? I mean, you take a look at their billboards, even just the things that are communicated on campus or the website. Yeah, yeah. So yes, the clubs would provide networking. So this is what I put in my notes. I'll just go ahead and. So Athens State promotes the idea of lifelong learning. So that's the idea, right? Lifelong learning, community engagement. So you all kind of talked about that. I think that networking goes with that. And there's the career readiness also. So whether that's actually getting the skills that you need to be qualified at your job, or also just having that or building that confidence, knowing that you are able to, like, for example, our class, right? Like, if you've never written a paper that was more than 5 pages, well, I know for many students that has built their confidence through the years that, hey, I can be a student that writes an academic paper that is an APA format. It's more than 5 pages. Many cases, I mean, really, the average is 10 to 15 pages for this paper. So, and some do even more because they have a lot to write about. So, like all these things that I'm talking about, you could really expand your product strategy section just by unpacking your product or service. Just so I don't miss this, since I actually wrote this down, I'll add this part too. So, under idea. Attending Athens State is also about personal growth. So, when I provided you all with the videos at the beginning of our semester, I talked about how higher education is about being transformed, right? And that's the whole idea there, is that going to college is for personal growth, intellectual development, professional advancement, all of that stuff. So that's what you get from going to school at Athens State, or really going to a higher education institution. Features. I'll say this while you're thinking. These are not meant to be even like mutually exclusive, right? Or it's not just, oh, there's going to be a lot of overlap, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So when it comes to the features, you've already mentioned a lot of those, right? There's the flexible learning option, for example. That's a feature of going to school at Athens State. Because we got our online, there's the HyFlex, or if you want to go in person. Yeah, that's definitely a feature, would be the atmosphere. I know whenever we have guest speakers at Athens State, and it's their first time visiting, they always mention how, beautiful of a campus it is. And I mean, it is. It's, if you've ever been to like a university where it's pretty new, or I'll just use an example, the University of Missouri in St. Louis, or UMSL. It's pretty, like, all the buildings are pretty modern, and it just doesn't feel like a university, and so, but when you come to something like Athens State, you're like, oh yeah, this is a university. And there's the whole idea, right, that goes behind that. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to school. This is great. I'm getting that college experience, but in my way. So yeah, definitely the atmosphere is something to that. And that's why, if you think, and I keep going back to restaurants just because that's a pretty easy example that everybody can relate to. That's why when you go to a restaurant, that is a big deal, whatever atmosphere it is that you're portraying, right? And that's why that goes along with the brand. Like, I wouldn't expect the same kind of experience, like, say, let's see, where have I've been going to Taco Mama a lot lately, but I definitely don't get that vibe going to Chipotle or even Taco Bell, which, by the way, I haven't been to a Taco Bell in over 7 years, but Yeah. So, but that's because the last time I had something at Taco Bell, I got sick, and I don't know. That could be a selling point, right? Because if you wouldn't get this experience if you went to University of Alabama, right? So, and I can certainly relate because I went to a school that had 30,000 students. So definitely, it's pretty easy to be stuck in a class with 150 other students in person, and you're just not going to connect with your classmates or your professor. So yeah,